Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. CIG shows are back finally this week. We've got some details of those, and they're pretty exciting for shows. Also, we've got the This Week in Star Citizen post from CIG, a load of dev responses from master modes to balance plans. We also have some hints at some special events, and the start of the next major patch cycle, Alpha 3.23. So, from the This Week in Star Citizen post, hi everyone, Niku reporting in after a week off. I've completed my move to the CIG studios in Manchester. They look wonderful. We can't wait to show you the office. And with me, I bring content. Last week was eventful for those who closely follow development of Star Citizen. Alpha 3.22a was released to live, and it came with several bug fixes for Siege of Orison, updates to the Santok Yai, increased damage output and health of defense turrets around the PU, and more. The Siege of Orison is back until the 5th of February. Get ready to drive into an action-heavy adventure that has turned the once idyllic city of Orison into a nightmare. Tech Preview channel, replication layer and server crash recovery was tested this weekend. As planned, the server crashed. We're professionals, don't try this at home. And after a few short minutes, the recovery process worked and allowed players to continue their adventures as if nothing happened. Thanks to everyone who helped us stress test that channel. We have gathered lots of data and we will be putting that to good use that will bring improvements for the next set of playtests. I really want to iterate how important that replication layer stuff is and server crash recovery. That will basically allow us, once we have server meshing, to go, oh, the server's crashed, we don't notice, or it won't kick us. We won't have 30Ks so much at all. It gives us the stability and redundancy that we need to have an MMO. We've got an updated Arena Commander experimental mode schedule. Until the 4th of February, we've got Team Elimination and Tank Royale running. The 4th to the 8th, we've got single weapon elimination with the AO3 sniper rifle. From the 8th to the 18th, we've got 2 special events which are yet to be announced. And from the 18th to the 25th, we've got another special event. So I'm expecting from the 8th to the 18th, that's probably going to be a Lunar New Year event and a Quarter More event, something like that. And then the 18th to the 25th, probably a continuation of the Lunar Festival. That sort of makes sense. As in real life, the Chinese New Year, I believe, runs from the 10th to the 25th. But that's just speculation on my part at the moment for those events. What do you think? CIG continue with, now let's see what's going on this week. This Tuesday, lore enthusiasts will nibble on the new Galactopedia update, at least I know I will. Thursday, your beloved Inside Star Citizen returns with its first episode dedicated to the feature content of the upcoming Alpha 3.23 patch, with a gorgeous and exciting look at new EVA mechanics and the updated personal interaction system, both of which aim to dramatically change the way you interact with and traverse the verse. That is 2 big features we know are now planned for 3.23. The EVA updates, so that's push and pull, floating around in EVA using jetpack or EVA pack fuel, as it were, and to sort of propel yourself around, but also pushing and pulling yourself off obstacles and structures and sort of surfaces, and a more tactile personal interaction system. I believe this includes things like literally pushing more buttons and turning more turny things like valves and stuff, opening doors in different ways, stuff like that, but also the way you sort of grab items, the way you interact with items, things you can do with them. Continuing with the post, on Friday, the weekly Star Citizen Live is back with an all about 3.23 special at the beginning of the quarter. Really? Jared has gone mad, where we'll be discussing the broad scope of the work for Star Citizen's next patch. I am really excited about that as well. Them giving us a load of information about what's planned for 3.23 earlier rather than later is good, but I suppose we've been waiting for a month, so yeah, it's as early as they could give it to us. I do suspect it's going to be a lot of low-hanging fruit where possible, literally trying to get as much across a broad range of categories into that patch as possible, with all the Squadron 42 sort of things coming across and a load of things that were nearly sort of done. We can infer from that This Week in Star Citizen as well that the monthly reports should be here next week, along with the first roadmap updates of the year. In fact, CIG reiterated, our next roadmap update is on the 7th of February, so really looking forward to that next week. There was a load of dev responses I wanted to go through and sort of summarize. So there was a thread asking to fix the F7 Hornet. So at the moment, you can see what one feels like with new master modes in Arena Commander, literally load it up, fly around, see what that actually feels like. There's going to be a load of changes and balance coming to that. And it looks like CIG's focus is mostly on master modes rather than overly fixing or working much on the current flight of ships outside of master modes, if you see what I mean. They're going to be moving over to master modes almost certainly later this year, and that changes and updates a huge amount of stuff already, so they are focusing their time on that, or at least their energy in that direction. That said, there might still be some updates to balance, as we saw another thread, the distortion meta in PvP, with the original poster here saying, if you're not running distortions on your medium and heavy fighters right now, you're not keeping up. Mixed loadouts are the meta for your Hornets, F8s, Cutties, and so on. Hell, even full distortion fighters. These are highly effective builds for subduing your opponents, especially if you're outnumbering them in a team fight. However, this meta ruins dogfighting. Currently, you can render your opponent ineffective faster than you can kill them, or before they can kill you. While that might seem like a fun win, it can either end fights way too soon, without much counterplay, or extend fights to absurd lengths, as it encourages running to decay the distortion damage. I've been on both sides of this. Obviously, it's fun to win, but you know this mechanic can't stay in the game like this. The thread then outlines some suggestions for balance, including reducing splash, system shutdown order, and shield resistances to distortion damage. Niku responded here, distortion weapons are something that we would like to balance in the future, but we don't have any timing so far. We'll likely do a couple of balances in 3.23, but know that we have this in our sights. There was a thread about excessive smog and clouds around Lorville, with Niku CIG replying here, this is something we have our sights on and an ongoing discussion with, not only in Lorville. In another thread, day 130 of the Hull Sea cargo transfer not working, where the original poster basically just goes, it's not working, despite it supposed to be being fixed, or at least there are bugs with it. And still issues with the docking collar bugs. Niku again responded, we have the cargo transfer in our sights. Regarding the docking collar, it is indeed an elusive one. Unfortunately, I don't have any news about this one at the moment, despite the fact that it is tracked internally. Thank you for your patience. Talking about some more flight and combat updates. The new flight, HUD and combat updates, along with master modes, etc., have a ton of minor and major additions that should help drastically change and improve ship gameplay, all going to be deployed throughout this year. Atmospheric flight updates are part of this, with gliding, stalling, all that sort of jazz. And there was a thread, can we expect to have a minimum airspeed indicator with the new HUD and flight model? And can we see an example of what you're working on, even if it's a work in progress? This basically would say this is the minimum speed you need to sort of maintain, otherwise you'd stall. I believe that's the sort of idea there. YogiCat responded, that already exists on the new flight HUD. You might see it in our CitizenCon talk. It's a small red dot on the speed gauge that tells about the current stall speed, which is based on air density. Stall speed is the indicated airspeed at which the wings do not produce enough lift to keep you airborne. When this happens in Star Citizen, the thrusters are automatically engaged unless you inhibit that manually. Another thread, slow boating come master modes. The original poster here basically says, currently it can take a few minutes to travel to a contract or mission destination after you get out of Quantum. How are master modes and the new Quantum travel updates going to affect this? YogiCat responded, travel speeds won't be slower with master modes. The max travel speeds will still be above 1 kilometer a second for most ships. For longer range travel, for distances like 100 or so kilometers and up, your ship will automatically either pick quantum boosting or quantum travel based on distance, but that isn't tied to master modes, but to the new quantum travel experience, which will likely be released sometime after master modes themselves. And finally, I did see a thread titled Siege of Orison PvP Balance Needed, basically saying there are some issues with PvP in the current Siege of Orison mode, and a significant delay before someone is marked as a Ninetales sympathizer, basically as a PvPer, when they suddenly attack, meaning you can't defend yourself against that player for some time, even after they've basically gone, ha, I'm a psychopath. That's my impression of shooting lots of random people. But yeah, you can't attack them because you will basically get kicked from the mission or become a Ninetales sympathizer yourself because they're still marked as on the mission and friendly at the time. So they also suggested that if you want to join Ninetales, then another entrance might be a good idea, so you can sort of see that person, know that they're going to be there, that sort of stuff. CIG responded to this basically saying, thanks for the feedback, play Siege and leave more feedback. It's something that they are looking at. I personally am very much in the opinion that PvP can really ruin the Siege of Origin event as it is now. It does focus on what is primarily PvE gameplay, almost entirely so, and randomly having people turncoat during the event with little you can do to stop them, while also surprising you, just isn't fun. It's Baba's first murder hobo sort of event. It's kind of lame. I also want certain areas or missions to potentially have no PvP at all, or at least have that ambush PvP that, haha, I'm a friendly, lol, 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 no, I'm not a friendly, really, sort of not be possible. Again, if you have measures that instantly chuck a sudden attacker into prison or eject them from the mission, then you're still going to have problems, I suppose, because you'll have people jumping in front of gunfire to grief. I certainly don't have all the answers here. I do have a lot of opinions, though. Yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it? I do want both PvP and PvE in Star Citizen. I do think that some areas should be almost entirely PvE orientated and relatively safe from PvP, or at least people to have a bit more of a fair experience. I don't think many people want the ability to just go, lol, PvP, I win, exploiting sort of lore systems and in-game systems so that you can't attack them back. I want there to be more PvP-orientated events, but also I do want these PvP-orientated events to be PvE. And then you can have a load of hybrid ones as well. I just want everyone to be able to have a fun, fair experience. Once we have a bigger sort of universe for Star Citizen and we have risk and reward in a much larger scale, yes, you're going to be going to places like Pyro or certain areas where there's going to be a higher risk of encountering sort of players, different types of gameplay, but also larger rewards because of that. And you have sort of PvP that might just suddenly happen there, but you are aware that that can happen there. And you can appropriately defend yourself from that without yourself becoming a criminal. Anyway, that's it for your Star Citizen updates today. I'm really interested to know what you think we're going to see with Alpha 3.23. What features do you think are going to be in that patch? What do you think we're going to see for those special events? Do you think it's going to be Quarter More and the Lunar New Year, like I do, as some sort of special event as part of the experimental modes? How do you think CIG should deal with sort of PvP at Siege of Origin? Whatever your thoughts or questions, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. The giant ape climbed the skyscraper, swatting at helicopters that harassed him. You look up at the massive 50-foot creature of muscle and hair. He's got you firmly in his grasp. Any more pressure and you'd snap like a twig. He brings you to his mouth, and then you realise you should have got yourself nordvpn.com/BoredGamer. It would have provided you security and anonymity, preventing the great ape from finding you, but also accessibility to some of your favourite shows. Check out the links below for a massive discount and to help support the channel. Talking about supporting the channel, you can help by pressing that join button under my videos or even becoming a Patreon with the links below again. That goes a long way to helping us make daily Star Citizen content. A massive thank you to everyone that does that already or supports the channel in other ways like commenting, liking and sharing videos. We are just about to hit 200,000 subscribers, which is awesome, seeing we are a niche Star Citizen dedicated channel. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For January 2024, we are giving away a Drake Corsair. This is a very popular multi-role, multi-crew explorer ship that is very good at a huge range of stuff in the verse. It also comes with lifetime insurance and a game package, all you need to play Star Citizen, and all you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during this month. More details in the video description. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out my channel and other videos on there as well, and I'll see you in the verse.